Hello everyone. How you doing? I'm back in the other area. I have Chucky, and then you gotta come over here a little bit more, Kate. Got old Kate back there. Oh, Kate Bats. So, you know. Okay. So this was a request. This is the Yom Kippur War. It's a tongue twister there. 1973, The Egyptian Revenge, part 1 of 4. I have not been keeping up with the channel as much the last week. 2 weeks ago I worked second shift, so I was kind of tough keeping up. But then last week I found a little lump on one of my dogs, so I've been kind of stressed out, thinking it's potentially cancer. They're going to run some tests. Well, they're running tests, but I won't find anything out until next week. So it's not been a great week. So if you've asked me questions or sent me something, I haven't responded to it. I really have not cared that much last week, unfortunately. And I got the thanks button figured out. They shut it off when I had to re-verify everything, and they then made me manually turn it back on after they shut it off. So, all right. It's just been a bad week. So, let's get into this video. Part 1 of 4. Let's go. Kind of bad quality.
The death of President Gamal Abdel Nasser after 18 years in power devastated Egypt and the entire Arab world. His successor, Vice President Anwar Sadat, was considered little more than a figurehead.
Those in Nasser's inner circle thought they could steer policy on the course set by Nasser, and they were confident that Sadat would follow the party line.
What's the overall opinion of Nasser? He was assassinated? I know the name, but I don't know. I know Nasser. I know that name, but I don't know. I can't think of anything that I've remembered about him. And I know the name Anwar Sadat. Did I say his name? Anwar Sadat? I know his name, and I want to say something tells me he got assassinated too. I could be mixing up not sure. I think I just double tapped it. Okay.
The funeral was a grand occasion for the leaders of the Arab states and Nasser's Soviet allies. Nasser had severed relations with America, so the representative from Washington assumed he would be ignored.
Then a soldier came into the room, weaving his way through the crowd. Apparently, it turned out heading for me.
The soldier led Richardson away, out of the sight of the world's press and the watchful eye of the KGB.
I was trained to spot anything that was going on, but it was difficult in that chaos.
We went down the stairs. The lower floor was dark.
Also, for that KGB officer, his job is to spot things. I'm sure everyone in Egypt knows that's what he's there to do. He's not just there to be friendly. He's also there to pick up on things. He's kind of, I don't want to call him a spy, but he is. All diplomats kind of are in a way. So you'd have to believe that most of the Egyptians that are around him are there for a reason to, if he's to look over at something and say, well, wait a minute, what's that? Who's that over there? They might get in the way and say, oh, no, look, focus over here. Look over. This is where you need to look. They're going to try to distract him because they're probably there with the intent to stop him from picking up on things. That's why they led this guy out of there. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, he could say chaos, but in a way, it could be purposeful chaos to where they're making sure that he has so much visual stimuli that he's just like, man, there's potential, a fight happening over here. You got people screaming and crying over here. You got people that are telling you, no, be careful, and they're just distracting you away from what you need to see. That's something that happens too.
And propped up in the hospital bed was the man who had just inherited the presidency of Egypt.
President Sadat was resting away from the crowds after apparently suffering from heat stroke.
He said that he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to turn a new page in the relationship between our countries.
The next day, Sadat put on a show for the American media. Egypt was a Soviet client state. Sadat considered Israel to be an American one.
The United States provide Israel from the loaf of bread to the phantom to the even.
I did get his Anwar Sadat. Yeah, I did get his name right. Good job for Christopher remembering things.
In deficit in the budget itself. So it is the vein of.
Wasn't he a military guy? I don't remember. I'm happy I remembered his name.
Life. Vein of life for Israel goes from the United States.
Sadat didn't want to negotiate with Israel himself. He wanted the Americans to intervene, to deliver to Egypt the territories lost in 1967. In the 3 years since the war, Israel had established a formidable defense line along the Suez Canal, 70 miles from Cairo.
What are you doing?
I'm getting ready to blast you Israelis.
Why?
Because you Israelis occupy our land.
The Suez Canal had been closed since 1967. Sadat now told the Americans that if Israel moved back a few miles from the canal, he would reopen it, even to ships trading with Israel. Sadat's proposal followed statements made by Moshe Dayan, Israel's defense minister. Dayan said that the Sinai should eventually be returned to Egypt.
What we say is that we sit there just because the war is going on. But once you agree to make a peace agreement, we don't think that we should sit on your Suez Canal.
Golda Meir didn't want to negotiate through the Americans. She wanted direct talks with Sadat. In Washington, President Nixon looked for the right person to urge Sadat's proposal on Golda Meir. He chose Joe Sisko.
I can recall the words to this day. He said, Joe, press Golda. Press her hard, but don't cause a major Donnybrook between Israel and the United States.
To people who don't know, the term Donnybrook is funny, but it's something you would probably hear more in like Boston, New York, kind of thing. And a Donnybrook is basically just when maybe like one or two people, in this instance countries, would be attacked by more. So like one country fighting 3, 4, 5, kind of thing, or two countries taking on 6, whatever. It's where you would figure that the odds just aren't in their favor, and so it's just like a kind of beating someone up. So the term kind of goes like that. I'm not 100% accurate on that, But I know that we've jokingly said, get a bunch of us over there and just Donnybrook that guy. You know, it's kind of, it's not said in being serious, but that's just I'm explaining this way too long.
Sisko met with the entire Israeli cabinet, but only Golda Meir negotiated.
Golda Meir took it upon herself to do all of the talking. It was interesting to see everyone here, all the ministers, nobody opening their mouth.
What they did to release their tension was sending little notes to each other.
I sent Diana Chit saying, listen, Moshe, I think we can get you some support. He sent back a very abrupt reply saying sarcastically, thank you very much. But if Golda is not for this, then I'm not for it either.
Sisko saw that something was happening, that nobody was supposed to speak there, and so he was a very smart negotiator. He asked the Prime Minister whether he is permitted to ask the Minister of Defense one question, a professional question. So what could she say?
I said to him, Mr. Minister, if we don't do anything, what do you think is going to happen?
Diane said, well, I cannot imagine that any government will tolerate indefinitely a situation where a strong army is poised at the gates of its capital. He was exaggerating. After all, our forces were at a distance of more than 100 kilometers from Cairo, and this will lead to war.
Golda Meir still insisted on direct talks.
The next day, I walked up with these flowers, rather gingerly, and she said to me, "Oh, Joe, now you're saying it with flowers. It won't do you any good."
In Cairo, Israel's rebuff almost brought about the downfall of the man who had proposed the initiative, Anwar Sadat. So he reversed course and tried a tactic more likely to win Arab support.
War is now inevitable. Whatever the price, whatever the sacrifice, we will not back down. We will not give up 1 centimeter of Arab land.
I thought of Sadat as a character out of Aida. I didn't take him seriously. He kept making grandiloquent pronouncements. He never acted on them. So I, frankly, thought he was bluffing.
A lot of countries do that, though, because no one wants war. So if you're not getting your way, then you throw a little, I wanted to say bluster, but, you know, make a little bit of war talk, and you're going to start getting some people's attention. Some people are going to say he's bluffing, or you know, they're bluffing, and just ignore him. But you're going to get other people's attention, and if your goal is to get people to negotiate, then I think that tends to repulse people more than bring them to the table, because you're going to have people saying they're bluffing, and if this is the way they want to go at it. Okay, they're not going to like it when, you know. So it's never a good idea to lead with that, but it's human nature. Everyone does it in a way, you know. It's just another form of anger. It's not necessarily right. Sometimes it works out where you do bring people to the negotiating table, but you can only do that so many times.
Kissinger was too preoccupied with the Vietnam War to give the Middle East much attention, even when Sadat made another offer.
He wanted Israel to return to the 67 borders, in return for which Egypt would be willing to make peace, which was a big step because no Arab state had as yet ever flatly said that they would make peace. We were in no position to handle that.
Sadat told me that Kissinger had said, if all you have is a problem, I cannot deal with it. But if it becomes a crisis, then I can intervene.
أنا ممكن أتدخل.
Disappointed with American diplomacy, yet still unwilling to talk to Israel directly, Sadat set out to prepare for war.
في منزل الرئيس السادات في الجيزة وقال
The High Command met at Sadat's house in Giza. Sadat told us, there is no hope of a peaceful solution, and I will not surrender to Israel. So our only option is war.
He said, get me back just 10 centimeters of the Sinai, and I will negotiate a miracle.
Sadat then proposed a secret alliance with President Assad of Syria. They agreed to plan a joint attack on Israel. Syria's top generals sailed to Alexandria to meet their Egyptian counterparts.
I went on a Russian ship, dressed in civilian clothes. I had a fake Egyptian passport and was using an alias, Jamal Hassan.
At the hotel, the generals discussed the plans for their joint attack and decided on a special date.
The 6th of October was Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. For the Jews, it is a holy day, a day of rest.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, I hate this mouse.
The Syrians hoped...
Nope, we're not watching it yet. The mouse, it stops working after like 30 seconds, and I always forget that. It's annoying. Okay, so they're going to go to war. And we're not going to cover that one yet. I know. You're all excited. It's not happening. Not yet. So the thanks button now works again. You can click on it, donate to the channel. You can have me request things. You can just say thanks. You can like and subscribe, and that's always beneficial for me. Give a thumbs up. If you want to give a thumbs down, it's fine. I get it. I will just I have some people that'll probably just catch you, and they will use your body parts as things to catch fish or sharks or whatever, until eventually there's nothing more of you to use. I just got to find those people who are willing to do that for me. If you're a criminal, call me. And other than that, have a good day, have a good night. Hey, if you're a murderer, give me a ring on the telephone. All right, I'm ending this. Bye.